have now been a VTuber for an entire year. So to acknowledge time's relentless passing, I wanted to talk a bit about my experience switching from being on camera all the time to being a VTuber. So let's start from the very beginning. How did I end up here? Well, I've always found the creativity and tech behind VTubing absolutely fascinating. And about a year and a half ago, during my 2023 December subathon, I put, quote-unquote, becoming a VTuber in 2024 as the final goal, as a sort of silly, goofy, we're never gonna reach it kind of goal. My chat then proceeded to say, bet, and totally reached it. My bad for doubting you, chat. I should have never done that. I should have known better than to ever doubt chat. Said and done, I got my model commissioned, and bada bing, bada boom, my official debut as a VTuber took place on Friday, the 28th of June in 2024. Once I ascended and shook off my earthly flesh in favor of my new booba-physicked anime body, I realized a few things. Firstly, this is so much fun. The creativity and viewer engagement with the model is phenomenal. Never before could my chat make me bald and entirely remove my nose with just a click of a button. Being able to give my chat direct control over my model in a limited capacity has been an incredibly funny way to interact. It has also been a neat way to keep the stream feeling fresh and fun as we continuously find new silly toggles to play around with. Secondly, after about 10 years straight of being on camera, it was a welcome breath of fresh air to just be able to show up to stream and focus on the content. No need to do my makeup every day, making sure that I'm wearing nice clothes, or constantly double checking that I'm not sitting weirdly or something. I can literally rock up to stream butt-ass naked if I wanted to, and nobody would know, unless I told them, of course. But being able to just have a great time no matter my physical state while my on-screen persona remains consistent visually was a bigger relief than I first thought it would be. Especially since I sometimes get a touch of the resting bitch face when focusing hard, my model still looks as cheery as ever. No more questions if I'm sick, angry, or tired because I didn't wear as much makeup that day or because I accidentally relaxed my face a little too much. Because I was so used to constantly monitoring and double-checking myself to make sure I would appear decent on camera for so long, it felt like I dropped 1,000 kilos off my shoulders that I didn't even realize I'd been carrying around when I could finally stop doing all that. Thirdly, branding and theme has become a lot easier for me to keep consistent. I'm still molding the lore about myself as a VTuber, and I think it will ever expand and change over time, much like the void I rule over. But generally speaking, before being a VTuber, my theme felt very all over the place because me as a human being is all over the place. But as soon as I was my model, my theme became so much easier to narrow down and keep consistent. As this was something I felt like I struggled with my entire life as a streamer, this was also really fun for me as I now feel like my content creator identity on camera is a lot more solid. Fourthly, thanks to my theme and branding becoming more clear and easier to keep consistent, I also feel like it's really strengthening my community's togetherness. Is that a word? Basically, it's made my community, which I now lovingly refer to as my voidlings, feel more whole. Like we are all truly and actively part of the same space. Pun intended. So not only is my own theme and identity now very clear, my community's theme and identity is just as clear and cohesive too. And it feels like people are genuinely having more fun participating in this new and, if I may say so, improved version of our community, myself included. Fifthly, boundaries. Oh my god, as a chronic people pleaser, becoming a VTuber has actually helped me a lot in setting some clear boundaries. When I am live or on video, I am now QueenE, Queen of the Void, your current entertainer of choice. Nothing more, nothing less. A little less blurring of the lines between QueenE the streamer and QueenE the private person. Even if, of course, I still do share some parts of myself from my real life because behind it all, I'm still a breathing, feeling human being. And while that connection is still really important to remember, it is nice to be able to lean back a little easier into my role of being just QueenE while I'm live sometimes. Now, we've talked about a lot of the positives, but we also have to talk about some of the downsides of being a VTuber. The cost of VTubing is pretty exorbitant. I thought the main cost would only be the model and that I would actually save money in the long run and not having to buy as much makeup and clothing, etc. for being on camera. I was very, very wrong. VTubing is not a money-saving exercise. To give you an idea, my model that you see before you right now cost me around $3,000 split pretty evenly between the artist and rigger. And that is considered fairly cheap in the custom model world, especially with the amount of toggles it has. It is not unusual for custom models to reach prices upwards of $10,000. Now, let me be very clear before I continue here. Good artists and riggers are worth saving up for. Everything surrounding creating models takes a lot of time, technical skill, and artistry. When you're a VTuber, you can't just go out and buy new clothes for your model like you would for yourself in real life. Any new outfit, hairstyle, or toggle needs to be designed, drawn, cut, and rigged. It is not an easy thing to just slap together, so saving up to work with good artists and riggers is a huge part of VTubing. And the model is just the most obvious cost you need to budget for. A lot of VTubers also commission extra artworks of their characters in different situations to post on socials, etc. Much like regular camera streamers might take selfies when they're out in fun places in real life. This is also not a cheap endeavor if you're not an artist yourself. And of course, you have the regular cost of branding and such like banners, panels for your streams and socials and all your channels, emotes, badges, overlays, widgets, the list goes on. However, if you're looking to get into VTubing and you're not ready to drop multiple thousands on a custom model, do not worry. There are lots of fantastic options for pre-made models at a much, much lower cost. For example, one of the first 2D models I personally used when I was learning how VTube Studio worked before my debut was this chunky, adorable cat that I think cost me around about $8 on Booth. You can find pre-made models ranging all the way from a few dollars, and in some cases even free, up to a few $100s, which is definitely a much more budget-friendly option when you're starting out and might not be sure if you even enjoy VTubing yet. And the pre-made model market is expanding fast with more and more options coming out all the time, especially for customizable models that you can put your own flair on. I will link some of my favorites that I highly recommend below from artists that I love to give you an easy starting point if you want to start dabbling in the world of VTubing but are not sure where to start looking. I will also putting links to some of the more common art marketplaces like Booth, Etsy, and VGen in the description down below if you want to have a peek as well. On these marketplace type of websites, you can also find things like VTuber assets like cute hats and other items as well as backgrounds or other props to use with your VTuber. So anyways, now after a full year of knowing what it's like being a VTuber, will I ever go back to being on camera? The short answer is no, but maybe sometimes. The slightly longer answer is I've fallen absolutely in love with this way of creating content and will 1000% remain a VTuber online. That being said, I might still show up on camera if or when a VTuber model isn't feasible or for special events. I also do love visiting conventions and events in real life and stuff, obviously. It's kind of hard to be a VTuber in a physical real life space. I've also literally been on camera for a decade before becoming a VTuber, so I don't feel like I have to keep my identity top secret or protect my face from ever being seen as much as other pure VTubers might feel the need to do. So yeah, generally speaking, my booba physicked anime body is here to stay. I know this was a huge shift for some of my long-term viewers and fans, but I just want to say that I'm so grateful to everyone who is coming on this new journey with me. This is genuinely making me so happy, and I'm beyond humbled by the positive reception I've gotten from my community towards me switching it up VTuber style. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for this incredible first year as a VTuber. I can't wait to see what the next years bring.